My name is Caitlin Akon. I played Enid on The Walking Dead, and you are watching Comiverse.
I want you to tell all your friends about me.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
And there we go. Welcome to the show tonight, a special 85 years of Batman. We're going to be celebrating the first appearance of this bad boy right here. Wish it was the first print, man.
Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah. 85 years of
I'll
Batman.
tell you one thing. If you had the first print, I guarantee you probably wouldn't be making a YouTube channel right now.
If I had the first print, it would be locked up, and I'd just be telling everybody about it. And I'm going to play a clip for the episode. We're going to get it started.
That is such an underrated version of the Joker. That is so good.
It is. It is. And that Under the Red Hood is like tied with Mask of the Phantasm as my favorite animated film, man.
Yeah. I mean, I like that movie and Mask of the Phantasm. I don't get what everybody else seems to get from it, and I don't know why. I like them; they're good, but they're not top tier to me. And I keep thinking about why don't I understand what everybody else understands?
Well, for me, like Mask of the Phantasm, it was to me there was like a hidden story there that was telling you, hey. If that chick would have never left, we wouldn't have had Batman. But,
that is true. Andrea Belmont, that was her name. And never forget it.
Yeah. I'm going to run through the chats real quick because we got a short stack. We've got KBDM saying, hello all. Bobby Delegado. How you doing? Or Delegado.
Bobby's the man. I love that
Bobby!
man. He's amazing.
KDDM, I can't help it. KMFDM.
Volunteer collection. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. KFDM.
Love him.
And he said that if he had the first appearance of Batman, he would sell it. And Tim is here, my brother Tim. Batman's his favorite character. And I'm going to show this real quick since it's posted at the top. If anybody wants to join the panel tonight and talk about Batman, there is the link. It is pinned up at the top. And I've got a lot of stuff to show off. I've got a lot of show and tell tonight. But, I mean, come on. I think it's pretty, Batman's been around for 85. Ooh, yeah.
85.
I had a feeling we'd be seeing that through radio, television, movies, comics, magazines. To say that he's a pop culture phenomenon is underrated. At one point in time, his popularity was greater than Superman. I mean,
I think his popularity is
right
greater.
now. It is.
You say it still is?
See, this is interesting because Mark from Legion of Comics often leans on the Superman being the big character.
Yeah.
And to me, it's either Batman or Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. And Superman's right.
So I look at it
they're fighting.
I think Superman is iconic in the sense of a Mickey Mouse, right?
Yeah.
So Mickey Mouse is iconic. The minute you see those ears, you know exactly who it is. With Superman, the minute you see the logo, it's the most recognizable logo.
That symbol means everything to everyone. Yeah,
exactly.
I agree, yeah.
So it's the most recognizable symbol, even though it's not the original OG symbol, but it is. But Batman is the most popular. So the most iconic will have to be Superman. I'm going to say Superman is the most iconic, while Batman is the most popular. Now, Spider-Man, they kind of go neck and neck. But when you want to think of cool, you think Batman.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm
Relatable, you think of Superman, Spider-Man. I mean,
yeah. I'm gonna take a minute and say hi to my mom. How you doing? She says hello, guys.
Hey, Mom.
And I'm gonna take it. Yep, Mamaverse. I'm gonna take a minute to talk about briefly. Let's go ahead and talk about X-Men '97, Episode 3. My baby made it to the show. I am so happy.
Oh yeah!
What a debut as well. That was amazing.
Well, seriously, they went there with the basic instinct move.
Yeah,
my jaw was on the floor at that moment. I'm not gonna lie. I just went, did they just do what I think they did?
Yeah.
My bit was the bit where they killed the thing coming out of the TV, and you saw its like entrails and stuff. I was like, oh crap, this isn't your dad's X-Men. This is.
And that reminded me. What was the name of that horror movie where the chick comes out of TV? Is it The Ring or something?
The Ring, yeah.
The Ring.
Oh, it's such a great show. Like all three of the episodes have been just so good, and they've led me down the rabbit holes. Now I've watched a ton of the original series again, like which I haven't touched since I was a kid, and it's a great show. I mean, it's not on the level animation wise like this, but I do like that style of animation anyway. So
no, I think the animation is top level.
Yeah, I think it's great.
I love it. It has the flair of the original '90s, but it's current. It's clean.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's what the original wasn't as clean. You know, it was very.
And also things like the action sequences are just so well managed. But they are edited and shot, composed would be the right word, to perfection, like which isn't the case in the old series. Some of the action sequences are ropey as hell. But
what I thought was funny is that they took a story that's really a 2-year story and they wrapped it up in a 30-minute episode.
Yeah.
And not only that, but it's like I was telling John when we was doing Crisis Trivia Thursday, I said I seen like hints of like 4 or 5 stories there in that one episode, because you had like Inferno, you had Life, Death, you know, a hint to that. They mentioned Dallas. It made me think of Fall of the Mutants. Then you had the X Factor story where the Scotty took baby Nathan to the future. I mean, in Inferno.
Because you know, 201 is the birth of Nathan.
Yeah.
To all the way to X Factor with baby Nathan. Right?
Yeah.
And now I'm thinking about it, man. He was a baby for a long time.
Hey, Kenneth.
So, but what was really cool about it is originally it was Apocalypse that gave him the techno-virus.
Yes.
But they had Sinister do it. So I'm curious to see where Apocalypse comes into play, because Apocalypse is such a big part of Nathan's story.
But they have done Apocalypse a lot in that show. So maybe they're just thinking, let's try and make Sinister more important. Like if you're trying to raise an IP, you want to raise the untapped.
Now,
I agree.
Y'all feel free to contradict me, because I'm thinking back in I don't know what season it was, but they had a 2-part episode where Cable and Bishop were both going back in time, I believe, and it had something to do with X-Men and a virus. And at that point in time, I thought that virus in that episode was a transmode virus.
It is a techno virus. It's the virus that eventually becomes Phalanx. So in the story that you're referring to, where it was Bishop and Cable, and the problem that they were dealing with was the fact that if Bishop wins, Cable loses, and if Cable loses, Bishop wins. You know, you get when Cable wins, Bishop loses. So they were trying to change time simultaneously, but it would affect the other person. And that's what made it cool. And then, of course, at the end, when they finally figured out, oh, wow, we know how to fix this.
Yeah.
And they still messed it up, because when Bishop went back, things were different.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I was trying, when we watched the first episode of the new series, my only question was I guess I didn't remember the last episode of the old series or something, but I was like, when did Bishop get stuck in the past? But
they haven't answered it yet.
okay.
So Bishop ended up coming into the series in between the series because we don't pick up, exactly when the last episode ended. We pick up like maybe 6 months later. So within that 6 months period is where we get Bishop returning, and apparently he's a permanent member of the team, but he still could time travel. So not sure exactly where they're going with that.
And at first I kept thinking, well, the whole thing with the bracelet, because I remembered in the very first episode when Bishop showed up, the way they sent him back was Rogue ripped the bracelet off of him and it's automatically sent him back to his time. And I was like, huh. Anyway, semantics.
Yeah. We also get this little Rogue Magneto story in the background that no one knows what happened here. Apparently
so I was wondering about that because I don't think I ever saw like the tail end of the series. So I was wondering whether that's a thing that is unresolved from the previous series, or is that just a new thing?
No, that's a new thing.
That's a new thing.
Okay.
That kind of headed back to Age of Apocalypse.
Because I've been watching. Well, Age of Apocalypse never really happened in the cartoon.
No. Well, what I meant by that was in the comics.
There are episodes called Age of Apocalypse. I'm watching them at the moment.
But it was not the same Age of Apocalypse.
No. Yeah.
I was just making reference to like in the comics. I believe that he was able to touch her the same way. I think.
In the comic books, he has the ability. His magnetism could create an extremely thin layer of protection. So that she could feel. I'm not 100% sure if he could feel, but even though it's such a thin layer, let's just say he has protection.
Yeah. I want to answer KBDM's question real quick. He asked, why is Morph still alive? I don't remember what season it was in the old show, but he ends up being resurrected by, it was season 2. He ended up getting resurrected by Sinister, and then Sinister, after that whole thing, there's a few episodes where he's trying to fight his programming, and he ends up, dealing with all that and rejoining the team.
Yeah, so he's been alive. He was alive for a while.
Wolvie kept believing in him that whole time.
Yeah. Morph is such a cool character in this season, man. I really like how they're doing Morph.
Yeah, he's like a walking Easter egg. It's great.
Yeah. If you want a cameo for no reason, there's your guy right there, or your person.
Like the magic one, I was like, cool.
Yeah. Magic. First we get Elandra, then we get her as Magic, and I was like, oh man. But here's the thing that always trips me up about Morph. How does he know about these characters?
That's a good question.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
I mean, I presume he's met them. Just assume that.
But imagine in the comic book, in the cartoon, she was the little girl, so she's not a teenager just yet. If they're basing it off the series, you know what I mean. So she's still a girl. So somewhere
that is a plot hole. Yeah.
So somewhere along the line, he has to know, and because if I remember, it was in season 3 is when we finally get Colossus, and she was a little girl. Now, if I don't know how far, obviously it's 97. So, but assuming that Jubilee because they did say that Jubilee is about to be 18.
Yeah,
it's not that far off in the timeline. So she still should be a girl.
Well, I mean, Colossus is in the first season, but
we don't see her until like season 3 of Omega Red.
Yeah.
Hello, Las Cruces. How you doing, brother? Well, I'm going to take a minute and I'm going to go into one of our little segments. This is a little thing I like to do where I spotlight some channels, give them their flowers. If you're not subbed up to these channels that I have selected for this week, watch their channels, give them a sub. I'm sure they'll really appreciate it. So this is this week's edition of Comiverse Community Shoutouts. And that is this week's Comiverse Community Shoutout, sponsored by, well, I have no sponsors, so.
Can I just say, every single week, one of my favorite things is the Comic Vets, the one where he shows all the new books.
Yeah. Show us what you got.
Show us what you got. That's what it's called. TW on that is just wonderful. Like, he's so funny. That guy is one of my favorite people on the planet every time.
And it's funny.
I love nothing with him.
Taylor,
yeah, exactly. You oil and water a little bit there, and it's great. It's fine entertainment.
Yeah. Taylor may not realize this, but I'd actually discovered him before I discovered everybody else. He was one of the first videos. He was on a video with somebody and they were talking. I forgot who they were talking about, and I sat there and watched that video and I went, "Well, I like this guy. He's pretty cool."
Yeah. I'm dying to get Taylor with me on one of my shows, because one of the things that Taylor.
Oh yeah.
When I
on the Monday show, that would be great.
Right. So I would because he's watching. He's always watching. I said, you got to come to the show one day, right? Yeah. So he's like, hey, yeah, I'll come sooner or later. And I was like, okay, you got to come, because the thing is, he hates talking about specs, and what a perfect thing to have. You know
on a spec show, yeah.
On a spec show, someone who hates talking about specs. So why not have it? So and of course, they're making fun of my New York accent and my enunciation issue, but and I do it like this because I'm not telling my secret. But this week word is Aldred, and he's like, it's all red. So, like, I ain't
Quitly.
Quitly.
Yeah, that's funny.
And
well, y'all gonna go ahead.
And it's Miller, not Millar.
Yeah,
it is definitely Miller. Yeah,
it's definitely Miller.
Sure. I'm going to go ahead and go into my next segment, which is This Week in Comic History. This one's going to be a little longer because for once I decided, I'm probably not going to be doing a live show next week, so I went ahead and did this last week and the upcoming week. So, and there's a lot of really cool books coming out. There's one that we're talking about tonight that's on the list. So, without further ado, this is truly This Week in Comic History. And there you have it. This Week in Comic History.
It's a good week then.
Yeah. There's a lot more DC than there normally is, which is pretty cool. I've got a lot of Marvel anniversaries put in my calendar, and I got to work on DC. I've got a few, but I still always feel like I'm missing some DC. But
I mean, it's such a rich history. Like, DC feels like it's been around since the dawn of time, because it sort of has.
Yeah, it practically has.
Yeah.
You figure DC goes all the way back to Detective Comics #1, but even before Detective Comics #1, they were publicizing books before that under a different umbrella. But really, they're the ones responsible. The company, I'll say, is responsible for all the superhero genre in general. You know, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and You had other companies that just jumped in and stuff.
Yeah.
So really, we wouldn't have comics as we know it the way we love it, especially in the superhero community, if it wasn't for DC. So much love to DC, even though a lot of times they don't get that much love, unless your name is Travis or Mark.
I mean, they should, because their writing is like far and away better than Marvel most of the time. Like,
it's always because of risk taking.
It's sort of night and day how much, generally speaking, like DC are written. Not to say there isn't good Marvel, of course, but like it's if you put the average DC book next to the average Marvel book, I know which one I want to read.
Yeah. But it's always been like that. A lot of people don't even know that. So in the 80s and 90s, I remember so fondly how powerful the Marvel brand was.
Yeah.
But in the 80s and 90s is the same. At the same time, DC was putting out some books that just stood the test of time. You know, we get, you know,
I mean, they changed the game in the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like night and day.
Yeah. Exactly.
I guess the thing was they had Stan. I mean, at the end of the day, and Stan was the best publicist you could possibly get for that brand. Not to say that those characters aren't cool. They are cool. But, like, Stan made them cool. Like, he made everybody know they were cool.
Yeah, and they were urban. The problem DC always had is, even though the storytelling was top-notch, their biggest problem was relatability in their characters. Right? And what I mean by that is that their characters were always larger than life personas, where in Marvel, the characters were down to earth. They were mostly urban characters in a setting that was New York.
Yeah, it's a real place. Yeah.
So where DC created their world and their genre, and that's what caused. I guess that's what caused the rift when Marvel showed up. They started being Marvel was what DC became afterwards. Marvel was, we're tired of these ridiculous cookie cutter stories, so let's do something a little more grounded, more relatable, and that's where Stan Lee, Jack Kirby comes in, and they create this universe we know as Marvel. And then DC with Neil Adams and Denny O'Neil, they started saying, okay, you know what? This is what Marvel's doing. Let's do something different too. But at that time, Marvel was taking a stranglehold from DC. A lot of those DC books, the Silver Age and Bronze Age of DC, they're super cheap. And it's largely because of that.
Yeah, I agree. I was gonna say there's a lot of Silver Age and Bronze Age DC that are like criminally underrated.
Yeah. The amount you could pay, the amount you could get some of these books, it's crazy.
Yeah, I agree. Mm-hmm. So let me go ahead and just put it out there. I want y'all to rank your favorite Batman on film.
Oh, that's a tough one. So who's going first?
I'll go last. Well, I'll go next.
Are we doing a list here? What's the who's best, or
who's your who's your not anybody else's, but who is your favorite Batman that's been in film? You know, whether it be cartoon or live action.
Crap! You threw the cartoons in there as well.
You know what? Let's throw cartoon out because we all know we all know who.
It's Kevin Conroy is the answer. Kevin Conroy is the answer. But I loved Peter Weller as in The Dark Knight Returns. Like, he's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Peter Weller's voice in that movie was perfect.
Yeah, it was. It was really. I watch it regularly.
Yeah.
That's my favorite Batman story, and he nailed it.
What threw me off was finding out, I can never remember the actor's name, but the guy that played Jethro in the Beverly Hillbillies movie has actually voiced Batman in some. I think he voiced Batman in the Harley Show.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he actually sounds pretty damn good. I mean, well, I'll go ahead. Y'all go ahead.
We'll do this. I'm gonna say my favorite live action Batman which is definitely very controversial, I guess, but it's because I think he's the OG, and that's Adam West.
Okay.
And it's not because he's the best Batman, because clearly he's not, but he's my favorite Batman because that's the Batman that I grew up watching. You know what I mean? That's how I feel towards that version of Batman. He is, to me, who Batman always was when I first grew up as a kid. I love watching that TV series, and I'll be honest, that movie is awesome.
It's such a hard question, dude. Like,
Well, hold on, DVH. Before you start, since he mentioned Adam, I'm going to play this short little clip.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
You know, I know that feeling. Sometimes you just can't.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you just can't, man. And when you never know when you need Batman shark repellent.
Exactly.
Always keep it handy.
All right, DVH, it's your show.
Right. Adam West is wonderful. It's not that he's a bad Batman. It's that it is a bad Batman to me. You see what I mean? Like he's just majestic, and like that whole series. It sort of rests on him being so wonderful. Like I could watch him doing that all the time. But that Batman again, it's not how I want Batman. It is for some people, but like I know like as a live action, I would say Christian Bale, because those movies are fantastic. I love Michael Keaton, but I don't actually love those movies. Like I quite love the first one, but the second one I have some issues with. And as a kid, I really didn't like the first one. Like as I've grown up and got on with it, like I liked Adam West when I was a kid, but I just didn't. It didn't work for me, and I've seen it through different eyes as an adult, and I do appreciate it, but I do have criticism still.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck is not a bad Batman. Like those movies aren't all the way my cup of tea, but he is really good at Batman. So it's a difficult. Yeah, I still think Christian Bale as an overall package. That one is the one that I like. I mean, I like Patterson more than I thought I would. Like the sparkly vampire guy, I was like, oh, this is a terrible idea. But yeah, no, he was really good. He's sort of a bad Bruce Wayne, but quite a good Batman. Yeah. And I think Christian Bale is a really good Bruce Wayne and sort of a good Batman as well, but it depends whether you like the voice modulation, like I'm Batman shit. Like that can wind some people up.
But he kind of got that from Kevin Conroy, even though Kevin Conroy is completely different, right? Because Kevin Conroy understood that Batman should have two voices.
Should sound different, yeah.
Now,
like if you ask a different level, question and you include the animated, it is Kevin Conroy. He's the voice in my head when I read a comic. Like it doesn't matter what comic I'm reading, unless it's Batman 89. I'll make an exception for that. The Batman in my head is Kevin Conroy. So I guess it should be that.
Yeah, so I agree with you. I think with that being said, I think we didn't get enough of Ben Affleck. I know he's been in a couple of movies, but I don't think we got enough of Ben Affleck being Batman. So if he would have had his chance doing the movie that he was supposed to do, then I think it would have sold me at least. I think Robert Pattinson he's becoming Bruce Wayne. So we never saw Robert Pattinson become Bruce Wayne. He's always been Batman, and that's the portrayal he's been doing. So he has to learn how to become Bruce Wayne, which is where Christian Bale excelled there. because Christian Bale was already doing the double-sided character. He was learning how to do that. But I'm with you on that. I like Christian Bale. I think he's a really good Batman. I really do. But again, like, you know, I grew up on Adam, so that's why I'm sticking with Adam.
Oh, Tim's using a quote from 66 Batman to dig on the new Crow. Sometimes you just can't get rid of a bomb. Have a feeling in a few months the makers of the Crow remake will feel the same way. I'm not going to wish for it to fail. I have my grievances, which is petty, and but I want it to succeed. I don't think anybody wants something to fail. At least I hope they don't.
No, there's haters. There's always going to be haters.
There's always going to be a segment of the audience, and also when you're using like an established property, like if they had just not called the character Eric Draven, then we wouldn't get all this. Like you wouldn't have people so sort of, this isn't the Crow. Ugh.
And they're right, but they're right.
Yeah. I mean, they aren't wrong. Like, but you wouldn't get that reaction if that didn't happen. So it might be a good movie, though. We don't know.
Without just taking away the story of what we're doing with Batman, I think the Crow movie, they really are trying their hardest to get out of the mindset of Brandon Lee's movie. Yeah. Because that's part of the reason why the Crow's so special. Because of Brandon Lee.
But not hard enough to change the names of the characters to a different one. I mean, they could have done that. And
if you're gonna, what they're doing is they're doing a remake of a cult classic, and the problem that they have is that it still doesn't. It's not that it's not too soon, because I think it's plenty of time has passed, right?
Yeah. But 30 years.
Yeah, 30 plus years. Plenty of time has passed. It's not that. The problem is that there's a special thing about that original movie that cannot be duplicated.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? They
shouldn't. There are a bunch of the Crows, aren't there? So
City of Angels was fine, and Wicked Garden, I don't know what that was going on there, but they were doing something that they should have continued in that way.
Yeah, so, I know tomorrow marks I believe it's the 31st anniversary of Brandon Lee's death.
Wow.
And then but after reading the actual hardcover for the Crow, I was hoping that the remake would be more in tune with what James O'Barr had written. You know?
He doesn't look like the Crow to me.
Well, that's true. I agree. To me, he looked more, and I'm going to sound cliched, but he looked more like Leto's Joker. But
yeah, a lot of people are saying, to me, he looked like Finn Balor.
Yeah, I agree. But I'm not. I'm still going to give it a chance, and because I mean, I was wrong. I remember back in 1989, and this will go back to me answering my question. I grew up watching Adam West on reruns. Mm-hmm. And as a kid, I thought it was kind of hokey. I've grown to appreciate it now. You tend to appreciate things more when you're an adult, as you do a kid. Because I love the fact that nobody could make Cesar Romero shave his mustache. So,
I love that.
I mean, just little things like that. I love the fact that Bruce Lee is in 2 episodes. I mean, but Michael Keaton, I've always loved Michael Keaton's Batman. I probably always will. And that movie means a lot to me because I got to go watch it on opening day with one of my buddies that has passed now. So that's really like a special memory for me.
Yeah.
We were like 16-year-old punks and we got to go watch it. And, but yeah, I like Michael. I actually liked Val. I didn't care for Clooney too much. My problem with Clooney was, okay, it was kind of like when you watch Val, I was like, okay, man, it's a little too dark. And then you watch Clooney, you're like, okay, it's a little too happy.
Yeah, that version of Batman just didn't work because I don't know. My biggest complaint, and all my friends has had to hear me gripe about this since the movie came out, is Bane. No disrespect to Jeep Swenson, the man, God rest his soul, he's no longer with us. Mm-hmm. You know, he played Bane in the movie. But I always was like, you know what? Bane is not some guy going bomb, bomb, bomb. I said he was the
he would
destroy
lead
that
the organ.
character.
Yeah, he would be leading the organ. He would be the main villain, not the.
Well, because first of all, what they did with Bane in that movie was completely ignore the character. It completely ignore. The only thing that Bane had that was the same as Bane in the comic book is a mask, because even the way they used Venom was different. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So it was like, that was the first time I sat in the movie theater and I was like, I can't believe I'm watching this. And then one day I get a chance to see Joe Schumacher come into the store I was working at, come into the store, and I literally had to hold back because I was going to give him a piece of my mind. You know, and so I was like, you're going to get yourself fired. I'm like, no. This is like, I was so passionate at that time about it that they had to hold me back. You know what I mean? Like, no, you're staying back here. You're staying back here. And it's like, it was just, I know the directive they gave Joel Schumacher, but the problem is that he still took it to this level that was like, you're trying to channel Adam West through a version of Batman that's not Adam West. You know what I mean? The colors and all that stuff. We literally just came from a Tim Burton, and you want to do a 180 on it.
Yeah, and I guarantee you they spent most of the budget on the neon.
Oh my goodness. They spent all that on the Batman card.
Yeah.
All you have to look at is the issues that Kevin Smith had with the Superman script that he did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then that'll tell you the level of interference you get when you work for Warner Brothers. I mean, it's crazy. Like the way that was explained, like him, like the John Peters, like spider thing and picturing it in his mind. That's how those executives thought in the 90s about that stuff. And they still might now. I don't know. But the point is...
they still do. They don't know anything.
They're just going off the dome, and they do what they want, and they don't really care about what the actual IP is. So those movies, they are what they are.
I'm gonna play a clip. We're gonna throw somebody else's opinions in on this. I hope, since DVH didn't mention Bale, this doesn't ruffle his feathers, pun intended. But let's get somebody else's take on their favorite Batman.
Are you crazy? How can you put Michael Keaton in front of Christian Bale?
Oh, please. Even my poodles know Bale's overrated.
Thank you. That's why I say Keaton's number one. He brought a sense of humor to the role.
Well, if you're going to factor in a sense of humor, well, I should be at the top of the list. It should be me, Keaton, Kilmer, Lego, Bale, and that pretty boy Clooney.
Really? You're ahead of Bale? The man who personified the words, "I'm Batman."
I never had to say I'm Batman. I showed up, people knew I was Batman. Everywhere I went, on the TV show, mall openings, Julie Newmar's bungalow.
I'm sold. You're ahead of Bale.
I'm sorry, I had to throw that in there. I love watching that. Yeah.
I win.
I don't know why, but every time I see that clip, it cracks me up. I don't know why.
That whole episode's great. I love that whole episode. Mm-hmm.
DVH, you're muted. There you go.
That show is hit or miss, but it has some great moments. Like that's tremendous. I think
go ahead.
that they mentioned a really good point there, in so much as George Clooney is a great actor, but if you watch him in that movie, he is terrible. Like, I mean, like, watch him walking around as Bruce Wayne and talking. His head bobbles. He's like a bobblehead, like all the way through. Like, it's really weird. Like, you can't explain it. And he is a great actor, so I have no idea what he was thinking in that.
I think that was the problem. I think to him, it was the role was beneath him. I think that's what he was doing. And
I don't know, because back then he wasn't. He'd just come off ER, or he was still on ER. I don't even know.
No,
It's like
he
it's
was
very early.
At that time, he was one of the hot actors. He was definitely a hot actor because I think he was doing Oceans already at that time. But he was hired, and I think what ended up happening is that he knew he was in garbage. And since he knew he was in garbage, he was just collecting his paycheck now.
Yeah.
So, there's some actors that they don't, even if they know they're in garbage, they're going to give you 120%. And then there's some actors who, when they know they're in garbage, they're going to treat it like garbage. You get what I'm saying?
Was really bad, though. I mean, it's
yeah.
frightening.
I think Jack Nicholson once said, a job is still a job to me, so I'm gonna give you my best performance, and that's why Jack Nicholson is just one of those guys where you see him act, he's always acting. Yeah, he's got to the point that he plays himself many times, because that's what I look at his Joker. I just say it's just Jack Nicholson being Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, it's just Jack.
Right?
It's Jack doing Jack.
But there's some importance in that, because I think at this moment in time, it's like, yep, I'm just collecting a paycheck, and this is who I am. I am an actor. I'm not trying to win an Oscar. I know I'm not going to win an Oscar here. I think there's a little level of respect now that most people have, because now there is a possibility you could win an Oscar in a comic book movie. It's been done twice.
Oh yeah.
For the same role.
I was going to say, I'm going to point out that, like my wife, she is not the biggest Jack Nicholson fan at all. And she said her two favorite Nicholson movies is Batman and A Few Good Men. So, I mean.
Oh, The Departed, man. You got to see The Departed, man.
She's not really big into.
The Departed, I have mixed feelings about. He's great in it, but like it's every other time I watch it, I like it. Yeah. It's very sort of like, you could have done a bit of editing there. So
Scorsese.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think that's part of the problem, because Scorsese needs an editor. Like, he's undoubtedly a great filmmaker, but his early movies are better because he was under a crunch, and because he has free will to do whatever he wants.
And I'm biased
a little bit.
I'm biased. I believe he should have got an Oscar for Goodfellas, but I mean that's just me.
Yeah, no, he should have. Yeah, that's his best movie, I would say. But even that, I think you could probably shorten that movie. So Ocean's 11 was 2001.
Okay, so that was much later.
Yeah, Batman was 97.
97, yeah. So what else was he doing during 97? Is there anything else besides ER?
I'm not sure.
Let's have a look.
That couldn't have possibly been his first on-screen movie.
No. From Dusk Till Dawn was 96.
If I'm not mistaken, I'll double check it, but I think his first on-screen movie was a film in the 80s called Red Surf.
Oh,
what about From Dusk to Dawn?
That was in the 90s.
From Dusk Till Dawn was 96, so it was before Batman and Robin, but...
Okay.
He was also on The Facts of Life.
Yeah, but I don't count that. That's TV.
Yeah.
He was in Return to Horror High.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of the slasher movies, but that's just me. So it's not good. Don't watch it.
But isn't that
Return of the Killer Tomatoes? He's in that, and Roseanne.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was wrong. His first movie was Grizzly 2 Revenge. Red Surf was his fifth movie. That's just a little B-rated movie that he did with Gene Simmons of Kiss.
Wow.
I mean, he was like a fairly big part of the first season of Roseanne. People sort of forget that like he was a recurring character. Like he was in a lot of Roseanne.
I said Facts of Life. I met Roseanne. Yeah, he was Jackie and Roseanne's boss.
Yeah, I don't remember that. Obviously I do remember him in Facts of Life.
Oh, so he was in Facts of Life. Okay.
Oh yeah, he was. He was actually he was part of it because it was like the girls were now grown up. You know what I mean? It was kind of like, oh, now we're grown and we have real jobs. You know,
Okay.
and now they're wearing real clothes and not schoolgirl outfits. I remember that. So yeah.
I always remembered Blair.
Blair. Yeah, everybody had a crush on Blair.
Yeah. So
and I would love to see them try to do Facts of Life today and how they would portray the character of Joe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because Joe was always was a character that we all knew, but they never said it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's a sitcom, right?
Yeah.
It came out
I
in the
don't
80s.
think it ever travelled across here. Like I know it exists, but I don't think we ever got Facts of Life.
Huge. Facts of Life was one of the biggest sitcoms of the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, we might have, but I might have missed it, but
yeah,
it doesn't ring a bell. Like I know it exists because I hear the Facts of Life talks about, but I don't think it ever happened over here. Yeah.
Y'all, I got cat bombed.
Oh,
he's the Comiverse mascot. I don't think he realizes he's on. I don't think he realizes he's on camera. All right, so let's talk about. I've got a lot of stuff I'm going to show off, so I'm going to be last. But I want to hear some of y'all's favorite stories.
That's the Dark Knight Returns all day for me. Like I
knew yours was Dark Knight Returns,
but also Court of Owls is probably responsible for me still being into comics.
Yeah,
it happened at a very specific time of my life, and I say it happened. I didn't read it until it was in trade, and I was looking for something, and I picked that book up, and it ignited my entire love of DC. Like huge. I can literally remember the first time that I read that book, which is not the case for everything. Like I don't know where I was when I read a lot of stuff, but that book, I was like, whoa, this is it.
Yeah,
I love the Court of Owls. It's great.
So I'm with BBH on Dark Knight Returns, but it wasn't until Batman Year One. Batman Year One was, to me, the best Batman story because it wasn't about Batman. It was mostly about Batman's relationship with Commissioner Gordon, and it's more of a Commissioner Gordon story than it is a Batman story.
I didn't love Year One until the animated version. I loved the animation version, and now I love Year One. I shouldn't have said that. I did really like it. Like it wasn't like I was like, oh, it's terrible. Yeah. It just didn't. When I saw the animated movie, the thing about the animated movie, I think, was that I kept watching it. I kept watching it over and over, which is a weird thing to do. Sometimes
it does have repeatability, man. It
does. It's great, and because of that, often in my head, Jim Gordon is Bryan Cranston. I have that same sort of dialogue for it because he's perfectly cast. I mean, it's wonderful.
Yeah, and even this guy as Batman, I forgot. It's the guy who he played Robin in the other movie, right? That he's from Supernatural. I'm trying to remember, his name is escaping me. His voice, the way he would speak, is to me was a really good take on Batman without trying to be someone else.
You talking about Jensen Ackles?
Yes, Jason Ackles, right? He was the voice of Batman in Year One. And it's his portrayal of Batman was like, I'm gonna make Batman my own character. I'm not gonna base it off of previous versions because that's what happened. A lot of people are trying to base their Batman off of like Kevin Conroy or Michael Keaton. They're trying to duplicate what that sounds like. Jason Ackles is like, this Batman is not. He hasn't gone through everything that the Kevin Conroy version of Batman's gone through. Yeah, he's gone.
To be fair, because it's Year One, that works. Like it's like because he's a new Batman, he's a different Batman.
Yeah, so he's a Batman that's trying to discover who he's going to become, right? And it's so cool because he's literally. What's really cool about it is how he observes everything, and he's taking mental notes. You know, as he watches it, he's literally taking mental notes of things and how he's gonna do it. And then when he finally figures out this is what I have to become, you know, that's what that scene in the ballroom with all the crime boss, and he's like, yep, and he just puts that is such a great scene. You know, in the comic book, it's like it was ripped right from the comic book. Which
Are you talking about Under the Red Hood?
No, I'm talking about in Batman Year One.
Oh,
Year One, the ballroom scene.
Okay.
The
When
banquet,
you said
the
that,
banquet.
when you said that at first, I thought of the scene from Under the Red Hood. Never mind.
Yeah, it's the banquet when he storms into the banquet with all the crime boss, and he's pretty much telling them,
Yeah.
"I'm taking over the city now."
Oh yeah.
Pretty much. That is. Oh, I love that scene.
Oh man. DVH.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say, I wanted to say something that might get me cancelled. It's very controversial.
This is a cancel-free zone.
I don't know. Like the community might disown me after this.
I won't.
I don't really like the Killing Joke.
The book or the movie?
No, the comic and the movie. Like either of the two of them. Like they've never worked for me. I don't like the changes that I made, but that didn't really bother me, honestly. I just don't get on with it. It doesn't work for me. Like I don't like of all Alan Moore's like seminal stuff. It doesn't. Like I don't know why Joker needed an origin. It doesn't work. I don't know why. I've never understood.
What the part of the Killing? First of all, I love the Killing Joke. I don't like the movie. But the part I understood of the Killing Joke is when Alan Moore was writing it, it was meant to be, here's the origin of the Joker that may or may not be true.
I get it. Yeah, I understood that. But I was just like, why
by
do it?
doing that, he's trying to build sympathy over something that may or may not happen, has happened. And I think that was the psyche that Alan Moore was going by. And then even at the end of the story, spoiler alert, when Batman gets him, we don't know what Batman actually did.
Oh no, he kills him. Like in my opinion, he kills him. Because the last three panels, he's laughing, and then and he's not laughing. He's dead. Like that is the Killing Joke. He kills him at the end of the joke.
Yeah,
like that's what it is.
But then you get
that doesn't bother me so much. Like I actually really like that ending because of the sort of obscurity of it, and also because we've all thought about the fact that eventually the Joker would push him to the breaking point, which would be the ultimate joke on Batman. Like it would, like from Joker's perspective, him killing him. But I prefer the Dark Knight Returns version of that than this one.
Yeah,
but I do admire that bit of it.
I was going to say what I liked about the Killing Joke, because I love the story personally. I don't think it was originally intended to be in continuity. Maybe some people don't count it.
No, I don't think it is.
No, it definitely wasn't. It was supposed to be completely like an Elseworlds type of thing.
I know in the Death in the Family, after the Joker gets loose, I believe it's Batman that says, "Don't worry, he won't stay out long because everybody's going to want a shot at him after what he did to Barbara." You know, they make it.
They did. They sort of made it canon because they turned Barbara into the Oracle. Yeah. Well, and I love that character. I sort of love that bit. It's the backstory of it all that I just like. It doesn't read well. I just like I don't care.
You know, I never personally treated it as even though it could be considered a origin story. I never really considered it because the Joker himself says, you know, if I'm going to have an origin story, I prefer it to be multiple choice.
It is clearly just an option. And it's like from the Joker's perspective, it's probably just him telling a yarn. But at the same time, it's just like I didn't need to read it, and I still don't need to.
Yeah. So
I'll read it again. one day maybe I'll love it. You never know, because I do like
but that's fine.
aspects of it.
I think Alan Moore's writing, first of all, Alan Moore is a genius, right? He's a genius.
No argument.
Genius. He's a genius in his writing skills. But with that said, there is a little sense of, you know, he's trying to make you think differently. That's part of his game, right? And sometimes you give into it, sometimes you don't. You know, it's like Watchmen, for example. What he did with Watchmen, he flipped the switch on how we consider superheroes to be like, right?
Yeah.
So the same thing can be said here, where I think his intention of writing The Killing Joke was, in fact, that it is supposed to be an Elseworld, and it was also there to kind of give you, you know what? If I'm going to write a Batman story, I'm going to write a Batman story, you know, that without any restriction, right? Yeah. The only restrictions he had was that he didn't curse, he didn't do anything crazy, but he practically did everything else.
I mean, he did. Yeah. It is pretty.
You know
crazy.
What I mean?
Yeah.
Because what he did, because obviously what he did to Barbara was terrible, and then what he eventually did to Commissioner Gordon was like, as you read it, it's like, my goodness, what am I reading? You know, I'm reading something off of like some crime thriller movie or something like that. You know, kind of like in the sense of Seven or something like that. So I think he was just trying to do something to just make you, one, feel uncomfortable while you were reading it, and two, he was trying to do something that no one else probably would have done.
I think what I'm saying is that I recognize it's brilliant, but I don't like it. Like
and I think that's fine.
It doesn't work.
Well, I have one question that usually everybody asks. Do y'all think he raped Batgirl?
Say that again.
Do y'all think that when he shot Batgirl, do you think he raped her or just took pictures?
But that's the thing. He did he?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Did he rape her? I don't think he did.
I don't think he did either.
I don't know that I've ever really considered it, which is weird.
But at the same time, it's how you constitute the word rape.
Well, that's true,
right?
Yes, I think that's really important. Like what you just said there, because it's sort of irrelevant.
Yeah.
Like, not obviously it's not irrelevant if it actually happened, but like there was an assault that took place that was so horrible that it sort of also connects to James Gordon, because it's sort of about Gordon at the end of the day, because it's sort of a mental version of that as well.
Yeah,
it's pretty sadistic.
Yeah, and what he did do is that he removed her clothes.
Yeah, he did do that.
Happened. That he did do. So that's why I say it's how you constitute it, right? I'm not going to say the word because I don't want you to get flagged, because that's one of those flagging words, right?
Oh, I should have said it then.
So what I will say is he did everything possible. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if his lackeys did.
That's true.
And he was there to just take the photos, because someone took the photos and he had the camera.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So
I mean, it's obviously the worst violation that's possible.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that's what they're talking about in that book, essentially. So it implies that is the gist of it. All right.
And that's what Alan Moore loves to do. He likes to give you more with less.
Yeah.
But I will give you this much. That book, as much credit as we give Alan Moore to that story, which we should, Brian Bolland deserves just as much, because
his artwork is amazing. Yeah.
I honestly believe there's a lot of great artists out there, but I believe he's the best Joker artist ever. That's my personal opinion.
Agreed.
I'm going to read it again now.
Yeah.
Now that we've talked about this, like I've read it a bunch of times and it doesn't work, and I'm going to read it again.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll love it this time. You never know.
But it's cool, man. You know, you don't have to love everything.
No, I know. I'm pulling your leg. Like, it's
okay.
my opinion on it differs from the wider, and I respect the fact that probably in this instance I'm wrong. It's just the way I see it, you know.
No, I don't see you being wrong. You're just being honest.
Yeah.
It's not an easy story either.
No,
it's not. No, it's horrible. Which is fine. It's Batman at the end of the day.
Yeah,
So like Batman's really good at being gritty, and I really enjoy that about it. Like the Long Halloween and Hush and all that good stuff.
It's like but you mentioned Hush. Hush is one of those stories to me that I don't think it's a greatly written story.
Yeah, I agree.
Jeff Lowe.
I was going to say, like, if I was going to cancel myself again, it would be like, I like the idea of Hush more than I like the actual execution.
Yeah,
like it's.
But what Hush was Jeff Loeb saying, "I got me Jim Lee."
Yeah.
Right. Drawing these characters for the first time. I'm gonna put everybody in it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's really nicely drawn,
right? And Jim Lee was pre-med. So Jim Lee's a smart guy. So Jim Lee was able to probably co-plot with Jeff to make it work. And the best thing to have is an artist that's a good writer, right? Not to say that Jim Lee's a great writer, but he understands storytelling. So what I loved about Hush, more so than mostly any other Batman story, because most Batman stories are really contained to maybe 1 or 2 issues or 3. Yeah. Hush was a year-long event, right? Like the Long Halloween.
Like the Long Halloween, yeah.
Right? It was a year-long event, and every issue left you with a cliffhanger to make you go, what the hell just happened? Especially with the Robin scene.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up.
Right? Because we didn't get Jason. Jason was still dead at this time.
Yeah. See, and I often wondered when they teased that Hush might have been Jason Todd. I always wonder if they were testing the waters to see if they wanted the readers wanted to come back.
They had something. They had something planned, I think, already.
Yeah, I think they were testing the waters. You're probably right.
Yeah, because it wasn't too long. We got Jason back in the same outfit, no less.
Yeah. So DVH, you got any Bat stuff you want to show off, or? I got like a stack here. I'm gonna be last. I'm gonna show off.
Well, I got nothing to show you.
Hold on. We don't. Hold on. Speaking of Barbara Gordon, look at that. Hold on. I gotta find a. There we go.
Well, if it isn't Smokey the Babe, just in time to meet her biggest fan.
This might be my favorite slab at the moment. I got
it's a good slab.
I hug it before I go to bed.
Do you talk to it?
Sometimes, yeah. Like it's.
Okay.
I think the thing about this one is, I would look at it like how you browse eBay.
Hey, Rich. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Rich.
Hey, Rich.
You know how you browse eBay and you look at stuff that you can't afford? That happens to me quite a lot, because I look at certain books that I'm like, one day I'll get that. And I did get this. And if I got this at FMV, I couldn't afford it. That's the thing. Like, my budget is at a certain point, near enough all the time.
Yeah.
And I managed to get this book at that price point, which was near enough, like pretty close to half FMV.
Yeah.
So I'm just, So I like to hug it. I like to put it on live streams whenever humanly possible.
Yeah, man. Hell yeah.
I'm really, really happy with this book, and it's up there with the toppest tier of my. Because to me, like Batgirl, I think this is undervalued. Like, what I know what I just said about like FMV, but I think this book should be really high priced because it is this Batgirl. Like Barbara Gordon is Batgirl to me.
So here's a question I have, DVH. I don't know if you know the answer to this one.
Sure.
As far as the FMV for Batgirl, is it on the same price point as Supergirl's first appearance?
I have no idea.
Because that would be the comparison I will put it.
That's interesting. I can look it up though. Like you go to someone else, and we'll come back to that, and I'll have a look on.
Who just arrived? Is that Rich?
That's Rich.
What's up, Izzy? How are you, man?
What's up, Rich? Good timing
late than
because
never.
I actually have to leave. So, Rich, you're taking my place. I'm tagging you in.
Well, before
you're like a Uber driver and a comic book YouTuber all in one.
all at the same time. I got the missus coming in, so that's the whole reason. So, guys, what's up?
Have a good one, buddy.
Have a good one, brother.
See, Izzy. Hey, Izzy. Hopefully, I'll see you Saturday, man.
Yeah, man. I can't wait for King Con. You guys got to go out there if you're in the New York, New Jersey area. Go to King Con. We're going to be there. C3 is going to have a booth there. I will be doing sketches for free, but they're for donations. So that's the whole thing. So you could get an Izzyverse sketch from me on King Kong if you show up and you leave a donation. That's one of the things that we're going to be doing. So until then, thank you, Bobby, for telling me to be safe. I'll do my best. I think I'm going to go have some tacos. So.
Tacos.
Whoa. Later, guys.
I just looked it up. Not even vaguely close.
Wow.
In the amount, like, you
really?
want the first Supergirl, you're paying some money. Like,
yeah, crazy. All right, guys. See ya.
Peace. Take it easy. All right. DVH, you got anything else you want to show off?
Oh, me, man. I
no.
always. Oh, I'm sorry. I
No,
think you said Rich. I'm sorry. My bad.
Now we're gonna get to you, Rich, because you got you got a lot to talk about. You didn't know it, but you did.
Okay.
So
that Batgirl book.
Oh, you
man,
got it? Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing else. Like not Batman-y. I've got other stuff. But, like,
well, Rich, we've talked about our favorite Batman. We've talked about they've talked about their favorite stories. I'm gonna get to my piles here in a second.
I'm not a big DC guy, man, so I don't own a lot of Batman. I have.
That's cool.
I do have a Batman 500 that's signed by Austin, I believe, at a 9.8. So that's kind of cool. It's not a key book, but it's it is signed. I have a 502 double signed at an 8.5, and then I have like the whole run of Nightfall. I have most of the Jason Todd run, but that's about all my Batman I have. I do have a lot of Titans. I don't have a lot of Batman.
Well, that's cool. Titan still counts.
But that Barbara Gordon Batgirl book, man, like that's just one of those books. Even if I could find it at a 1.0, I would absolutely snag it.
Exactly, that was my thought. Exactly. I couldn't believe it when I got it. Like, because
awesome book.
Like, as I said, I have a very specific limit of sort of what I can pay for something, and it was the top end of that. But I knew I was like essentially robbing someone in my mind. Like it should have cost way more than that. Like I just think that book is, it's as big as you get outside of the really big books.
Yeah.
DVH, Bobby Delgado is asking you a very important question. He wants to know if you're in any way connected with the Court of Owls.
I am very much connected to the Court of Owls in so much as they feed my fear of owls. Like, I believe that the owl is man's only natural predator, and they are terrifying. When I was young, I was at it was a weird sort of like animal show, if you will, and there were owls right there in front of me, and they are terrifying because they are. Like, so my fear of owls has fed my visage, my malness.
Kind of like Batman, his fear of bats.
Yeah, pretty much. Exactly right.
So Rich, Who's your favorite Batman? Live action.
You gotta go Bruce Wayne, man. Oh, live action. Christian Bale, man.
Okay.
Hands down, Christian Bale. What do you guys say?
Oh, I said Michael Keaton. DVH said Christian Bale, and I don't remember who did did you say?
Adam West.
Adam West, yeah.
Okay.
The thing is, I like a lot of those, and like Adam West, I'm very fond of. Like, he's one of my favorites of doing anything, but the Batman that he portrayed was not my favorite Batman.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
So.
Michael Keaton was awesome too, but
it's right next to me. So, like, maybe you can tell me about this run because I got it in a mystery box, and it's I Am Batman number 8.
That's the Jace. Is it Jace?
I don't know. It's like
Jace
Fox.
I think it's a Jace Fox Batman.
I think you're right. Yeah, it's like the other guy that did it. Is it good?
I never read it.
That's what I was wondering. Like,
I read the next Batman from Future State, and I never really picked up anything after that.
I got it in a mystery box, and I was like, well, I sort of hate that cover, and I know nothing about it. So, yeah.
Rich, you got anything you want to show off where I start, or?
Yeah, sure, man. I got a couple new books I picked up this week.
My daughter absolutely loved that Power Rangers cover. That's
a variant too. I don't know. I got the X-Men '97 variant.
Ooh,
that's like sideways.
Oh, that's cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've got that on order, but I haven't got it yet.
I wasn't able to get any of my new stuff either. I like that. I have a variant of Rogue order.
Yeah, I didn't get that Rogue variant, but now I regret it. And I'm angry at myself. So,
X-Force 50, just because it's the end.
Oh wow, that's nice.
So when you say the end, like that, you're gonna get a number one.
Yeah, the reboot.
Yeah, they're redoing the whole X-Men storyline. So, then I didn't read it yet, but
I'm curious about that one.
Yeah,
see,
me too.
I read that earlier today, and I'm sort of annoyed about it in so much as like I understand it will probably be good, but they don't give you enough in that issue to make you think. It's hard to explain, but it's very procedural and not enough sort of what it's going to be about. Like, I have no idea what the ongoing story is from that first issue.
Where does it take place, like timeline wise? Like in the beginning of like Spawn? Or
no. I think it's like they're old, like they've been doing this forever. Sam and Twitch are like the old ass Sam and Twitch. Yeah.
So I found this in
a
dollar bin.
Oh, in a dollar bin. Right, we have a winner. We have a winner for the stream. There you go.
And I posted this on Instagram a few weeks ago, but I haven't been able to show it off anywhere yet. So I want to show it off, man.
Oh wow!
Holy crap!
Cool.
So
yeah, that's
pretty proud of that one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh man!
So I've had it a couple weeks, but you guys are seeing it first live,
great.
other than picture.
That's tremendous.
So. But that's all I got this week, or this weekend, a couple weeks ago.
Cool. I'm going to see. I don't have anything new, and I don't want to. I've got a couple videos. My daughter actually let me do a video unboxing the stuff that she won from you, Rich. But I'm going to show that. I'm going to do those will be coming down the pipeline in a couple weeks. So basically, I'm going to take my time and show off some stuff that I like that is Batman related. Favorite books, shows, novels, whatever. I'm going to start off with this. My wife made this little tumbler. It says, I'm not saying I'm Batman. I'm just saying that no one has ever seen me and Batman in the same room together.
That's funny.
I mean, it's a good point.
Yeah. And then you can't really make it out, but she made this one as well.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
And she made this one.
Very cool.
She loves making these tumblers, and I try to show them off when I can.
Nice. Yeah.
First, I'm going to do the novels because I don't have too many Batman novels. Of course, we got.
Oh, cool.
Paperback. And then we've got the novelization of Batman Nightfall, which is pretty cool. Which is pretty cool because one of the things they don't put in the comics is the fact that Bane had this appetite in a hotel of getting like 6 hookers every night and getting juiced up on. He'd get juiced up on venom, and they'd end up all dying. So,
is that true? Is that really in the book?
Yeah, that's in this book.
Really?
That's really interesting because I've got a friend that swore by the. There was a BBC radio play version of Nightfall.
Yeah, I got it on audio tape.
Yeah, he swore it was great. So, like, is it that version of the book?
Yeah. So I believe that audio book is an adaptation of this book, and I actually have the hardcover of the Death and Return of Superman in novel form as well, and they did an audio for that one as well. Of course, I showed this. Hold on, I got this. That's pretty cool.
Class. Yeah.
And then some DVDs. I only showed the Blu-ray for Killing Joke because for some reason I can't find my comic. So this is supposed to represent the comic. That whole part at the beginning, the whole extra stuff, I always tell people, hey, from the point where Batman's walking into Arkham until the end, that's the comic. Everything else is filler for the show.
See, like, I understand that it annoyed people, but like, it didn't annoy me, but it did make me think it was weird. Like, I don't understand why it's there. Like, it's creepy. Like,
I just thought it was weird, but like you said, I just counted it as filler.
Yeah, but why? Like, what was the logic that happened there where they thought they would do that? Like, it is creepy. It's a creepy scene. Like, the whole thing about it. Like, I don't really care one way or the other, but
yeah,
it's just strange.
All right, I'm going to show off 3 DVD sets. Anyway, I showed this earlier.
Oh, that's cool.
Classic.
One of these days I'll sit. I started watching them, but one of these days I'll sit down and watch the whole thing. And then, of course, I picked that up. This is just the ones from the 90s. I got this for like $10. So,
nice.
Then, of course, the greatest Batman.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Love that. All right, now we're going to get into some stories, and we can't, we talked about today is the 85th anniversary of Detective Comics. Now, I just randomly pulled, most of these are graphic novels because they're a bit easier to pull in single issues, but these are just stories that mean a lot to me personally. I could have some honorable mentions is Batman 408, where Jason's, it was the reintroduction of Jason's, or the retelling of Jason's origin post-crisis, the one where he stole the wheels off the Batmobile. But I always thought it was interesting because the other little side story in that issue is that the Joker almost killed Dick Grayson. And that led to him putting Dick on inactive duty. And I just thought it was irony that that was 408, and 20 issues later he killed Jason Todd. So I thought that was kind of weird. There's a great Detective Comics story, I think it's 618, called Rite of Passage that I loved, where Tim's parents' plane crashes and Batman's got to go down to Jamaica or somewhere, or Haiti to get them back. There's a lot of voodoo involved. It was a pretty good story. Of course, Batman Year 3, any of it, but 1, 2, 3, they're all phenomenal.
They're all good. Yeah.
I like Year 3 just because of the, everybody's like, okay, the Batman 436, it's the first appearance of Tim when he was a little boy in flashbacks. But I love the storyline where, the guy that killed Nightwing's parents was up for parole, and Alfred's sitting there on the bed with a pistol struggling whether or not he wanted to go shoot this guy. I mean, I always thought that was pretty cool. Lonely Place of Dying was pretty awesome. So now we'll get to some books. And I'm going to start it off with Batman Gotham by Gaslight. I really love this story. Great Elseworld story where he's... I always get the centuries wrong, but basically, he's hunting down Jack the Ripper. That's pretty cool. Let's put this back here. course, I'm going to mention this: Batman: Mask of the Phantasm. And once more, feeling the movie stuff. I want to get the other one, and then this is where we go into the graphic novels because I figured they would actually represent the storylines a lot better, and that is Venom, the story of Batman being an addict.
That's cool.
You get your introduction to, the drug that would later become Bane's drug. Really great series. I believe it was Legends of the Dark Knight 16 through 20. That's pretty cool. And then I love Sword of Azrael. I love Azrael. Not a lot of people are big Gene Paul Valley fans, but I love Azrael.
It's crazy to me that like the first appearance of Azrael is like really not worth anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then his whole run is, like kind of dollar bin finds because it was a cool story, I thought.
Yeah, and I'd like to
taking a Batman suit on and 500 or whatever it was, and
yeah, and Joe Quesada made some amazing covers. I mean,
yeah,
those were some badass covers for a limited series. And I want to get at least the first issue it ain't got to be a 9.8, but I want to get a graded copy because I like Azrael, and we all know.
I never really got into Azrael. Like it wasn't. I guess it's because I wasn't like reading at that point, but I did read Nightfall.
Yeah,
like actually, Nightfall was the first Batman story that I ever read, like properly read, and it was it's great.
And then speaking of another prelude to Nightfall.
Oh,
banger right there, man. That's
that's a book. Yeah.
Put that there. And then my second favorite Batman story of all time, Nightfall.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm using the graphic novels to reiterate, this was more of the Nightquest. The book volume 2 was more of the Nightquest storyline. And I think it's funny that they put a lot of the Nightquest Crusade, but I don't remember if Batman of Nightquest the Searches in it. And then of course you get the fallout with Azrael and Batman. And if I'm going to mention Vengeance of Bane 1, I got to mention Vengeance of Bane 2. And that's when Bruce Wayne is already back as Batman and he's fighting a Venom-free Bane, which was pretty cool. Because I love the fact, and the thing about Bane going back to taking Venom and being off of it is back and forth. But I love how he recognized, at least in this issue, that being on Venom was a weakness. And
Batman has never beaten Bane when he's on the Venom, right?
No, I don't believe so. I may be wrong.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we talked about it. We got The Long Halloween. Really love this story.
What did you think about the animated movie of Long Halloween?
I loved it. I got to watch it on Max. I got to buy it.
I didn't love the changes, but I felt like it might have been better if it was one movie.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm
gonna be honest with you. It's been so long since I read this because I just bought this recently. It's been so long since I read the book that I didn't notice there was changes. So I mean,
I remember reading that for the first time and it absolutely blowing my mind. Like I absolutely love The Long Halloween. It's a wonderful story.
All right, going back to Elseworlds, we've got Batman Dracula Red Rain. This is a really awesome story where Batman fights
I've never
Dracula.
even heard of that.
Batman fights Dracula. And there's 3 books, which leads into the second one, Bloodstorm, where Batman's a vampire. And I don't remember what the third one's called. I don't have the third one.
But it's good, right?
I've never read it. I don't know.
No,
those 2 are great.
Those 2 are good.
Those 2 are great.
So I'll get on that. It's probably on the app. I'll probably read it.
Another awesome crossover. I've only read the first one. I've never read part 2 and I've never read part 3, but I love this one. Batman vs. Predator. Gotta love it.
I love the way in the 90s they weren't afraid of crossing Batman over with other people's properties.
And I was gonna say,
it's pretty cool.
Wasn't this also? This was the one that led to all the Superman, Aliens, Batman. Superman, Batman, Aliens, Predator, all that stuff.
And you have the Justice on Gotham as well.
Yep. And this is DVH's favorite. He's done said it.
Yep. Dark Knight Returns.
And then I'm going to end it with two more slabs. And this one, I like showing this one off anytime I can. Granted, it's a reprint. It's a hollow foil exclusive reprint from 2016. And I love showing this off because this was technically supposed to be the first slab until I ordered Amazing Spider-Man 248 and it came in first. But I won this. This is the first thing I ever won. I won it off of Coffee and Comics with Bueller and Bob. And it's a 9.6 hollow foil cover of Batman Adventures 12, the reprint.
That's cool.
That's a tremendous cover. It is really fun.
I really love it. I mean, that it's all shiny.
Yeah. It ticks all the boxes. But also, it's not all shiny, is it?
No,
no. Like it's a spot foil in so much as the background is shiny, but everything else.
Yeah. What grading service is that?
I love it.
This is the old CBCS.
I don't think I've ever seen that CBCS label before.
I won this from Bueller and them. It's been quite a few years ago. It had to be 2020, 2021, somewhere around in there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to end my show and tell with what I still consider to be my absolute favorite Batman story of all time, and I'm showing up the slab. And that is A Death in the Family.
Awesome.
Yep.
This one resonates with me on so many levels. I did a freaking, my first special edition spotlight was on A Death in the Family, where I did the whole thing. What I think is unique, and I always sometimes get people with this, except all of us would know. This is the direct copy with the ads, and a lot of people don't realize that the newsstand copy of this particular issue, 427, doesn't have the phone ad, and that's because this came out.
That's really interesting.
This come out before they did the voting. And when they released the newsstand version, the voting had already happened. So, and the only way you'll be able to find out, besides the obvious newsstand, logo, is right at the bottom when it says, "Can Robin survive?" It says, "You will decide. Details on back cover."
So I'm gonna have to see if mine says that now, because I don't even know if it does or not.
Well, whenever I hunted all those down, like I said, it'd be the last one, but I went on a binge where I went and got, I got the 426, and then I want to get higher grades, but I got these for a good price, so I'm happy with the grades that I got. And then they ain't got to be 9.8.
I love that cover. It's great.
And I love that's why when I heard they were doing that what we will call it, facsimile, whatever you want to call it, when they were doing that alternate version, hell, dude, I was all for it because in this in this trade paperback, when I did that show, I read the back part where Denny's talking, and they, when they released 427, they had 428 done. They had two versions in a drawer waiting for the vote. One he lived, one he died. So, I knew it was always there, the other one, but 30 years later, or was it 40? Well, 30 years later, they finally released it. And I always wondered what it would be like. I didn't really realize that it really wouldn't have changed much, But it was pretty cool. But that's me. That's what I got to show off for my Batman love.
Tremendous.
And I'm going to point out one thing. There's still one more thing I want to get. I want to get Under the Red Hood. And I'm going to play a clip because I think this is probably one of the best speeches I've ever heard from the movie. And, to me, I don't know if this speech is in the show or not, but I hope it is. I love that.
Good stuff.
Like I said, there's a reason why the Under the Red Hood animated film is tied with Phantasm as my favorite.
I love that clip. That was great. And it explains in one clip why I love Batman. I've got this thing about the fact that I know that he could do the thing that, that we probably all would do, but he won't do it. And I love that. Like his commitment to that one thing makes him the hero. You see what I mean? Otherwise, he's just any other thug. He's the Punisher at best. Yeah. And like it's his commitment to the fact that he won't step over that line no matter what. And maybe that's why I don't like the Killing Joke. I don't know. But like love it.
I just got a question. If anybody's ever read the actual comic of Under the Red Hood, is that speech in there? I don't know. I've never read it. I want to get the trade.
No. No, not a clue.
And I was going to point this out too. I always love pointing this out because we all know Jason's the Red Hood. On the back of I always love the back of the trade. You got all these different comics and stuff, and I always love the very last one that says, "It would be a really sleazy stunt to bring him back." Denny O'Neil. That was 1988. Keep in mind that was 1988.
That hasn't aged well,
No. Uh-oh. Jason's the Red Hood. Spoilers. But speaking about, I'm going to take a minute to talk about the Red Hood because, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I've misinterpreted it. So, in the comics, he came back by Superboy Prime punching a hole in reality.
I have no idea. Like that's news to me. I'm like,
I don't know. I may be wrong. It seems like I'd heard that from somebody, and then I'd heard that, because I love the part like in the movie where they put him in the Lazarus pit and he went crazy because Ra's al Ghul felt bad for his evolving. He didn't know that he didn't know Joker was going to kill Robin. So I mean.
Yeah, the only thing I know about that stuff is what I watched in the Titan series. I don't know if you guys watched that.
I didn't, and I should.
No, oh my God, Titans was phenomenal. Last season was iffy, but the first couple were awesome.
The live action one, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I started the second season. And I sort of went. Okay.
you got all three Robins in there.
Yeah, maybe I should go back to it. Yeah, wasn't capturing me.
I was gonna say Bobby Scotty. It may be I don't know. It may be a combination of both. The last.
When did it happen? When did they release Under the Red Hood?
I don't remember.
Story. Are we talking 90s or are we?
No. This was after Hush. Was
it?
Yeah, this was.
Did you see how high my voice went there?
If I'm not mistaken, Under the Red Hood, that storyline is where you find out that Jason is the Red Hood. I mean, because we made a comment that Hush kind of tested the waters for when they brought Jason back.
Yeah, good point. Yeah,
they brought Jason back in Under the Red Hood.
Well, the thing about my relationship with these characters is. Up until I started this channel, I was reading everything in trade, but also I wasn't reading everything. I'd read stuff that I heard good things about, and then I'd get the books. I got a lot of the New 52. I got every trade in the New 52.
Let me check and let me rephrase it. The comic book's called Under the Hood.
Yeah,
it ran from 635 to 641, and then 645 to 650, and annual 25. It was from 2005 to 2006. Cool. And I'm just going to play this just because I want to play it. I think it's pretty funny. I love it. And Jensen Ackles plays the Red Hood. I love that. And I believe Neil Patrick Harris played Nightwing?
Really?
Yeah, I believe so.
I could see that. Yeah.
And I guess I need to. I know Titans is on Max. I need to sit down and watch because I think I watched the first few episodes. I need to get back into watching the whole thing. I'm trying to wrap up Halo. I'm trying to watch Shogun, and now I want to watch Titans.
I need to watch Shogun and Halo actually. There's so much stuff. Like it's difficult.
Now I'm gonna be honest. I know if Durs was on here, he'd probably yell at me. I like it, but I'm not like crazy like Durs is, and that's cool because I mean, okay, I can understand his level of excitement about Halo because I mean when the new episode of X-Men came out and I seen Maddie as the Goblin Queen, I freaking fanboyed out because I mean, for me personally, you know, Inferno was my introduction to the X-Men, Goblin Queen, all that stuff. So I wanted her so bad in the original series, and it never happened. So to finally get that, I didn't care if they crammed the whole storyline in one show. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
that was
sort of
awesome
with you
episode.
in so much as like I don't care about Halo. Like I do not care.
I played the game. I sucked at multiplayer.
If it's good, then I'll be happy. Like if it's a good sci-fi show, great. Like fine.
I just thought I was happy. I was just happy the fact that they were trying to come up with a storyline evolving, you know, while they were going after the Mythic Halo. I mean,
yeah,
I don't think it's gonna, you know, that I'm gonna. Hold on, Durs does try to warn you. You know, that first season is a little rough to get through. It's the second season when everything starts happening with Reach. That's when it starts getting really, really good.
Okay. I mean, I will commit to watching it.
But yeah, and if you get a chance, DVH, do you have any of the Inferno? Because I know you were asking. Was it you or somebody else that was asking about X-Men?
That was me. Yeah. Well, I've got the app, so it's got everything.
There you go.
At all.
And you also could, if you're gonna read Inferno, you can download the reading order because it's not just X Factor and Uncanny X-Men. You've got
a couple new mutants.
Yeah, New Mutants. You got Exterminators. But the core story is Uncanny X-Men and X Factor. There's the New Mutants there was a great story with Ileana in there.
Yep.
So I mean, it's awesome. You got to read it. There's a 9-part storyline that went through ASM and Spectacular Spider-Man and Web of Spider-Man, where they're dealing with they're kind of side characters. They're dealing with all the loony stuff. But Hobgoblin goes and talks to Naster and becomes the Demo Goblin in that storyline. That's where Demo Goblin came from.
Oh, that's where right.
So, okay. I mean, and I thought that, and then plus in that same storyline, you get the battle in ASM 312 between the Green Goblin, the second Green Goblin, and the second Hobgoblin. So, I mean, and I always loved that one because Harry donned the suit. He wasn't insane. He donned the suit because he was defending his family.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. And of course, I can't remember everything that Inferno had crossovers for. I know there was Daredevil, Fantastic Four, and their Avengers. Avengers had a few.
Yep. Cap. I think Cap was a tie-in.
Yeah, they. I think that was when Cap was trying to start a new Avengers team with Mr. Fantastic and Sue Storm. We got Gilgamesh, the Forgotten One.
I think this has always been part of my resistance to X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
It's always seemed very soap opera-ish in so much as you literally have to read like a ton of books to get a story.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, let's say Batman, for instance, like you read the Court of Owls, you've got a whole story in, 2 trades worth. Now, I'm not. It's not really a criticism, but it's why I can't. It feels impenetrable, if you see what I mean, because you're getting it. It happens a lot with Marvel. Actually, it's like there is no beginning, middle, and end to a story. It's just a beginning, and the end just keeps going for forever. Yeah. It feels like.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, Gilgamesh was. Oh, I'm going to get this wrong. It's been so long since I got the books, but he was only in there for a few issues. He got hurt by the lava people, but I believe Gilgamesh is an Eternal. and they referred to him as Gilgamesh the Forgotten One during those few issues. But it's so funny because at the end, I believe it's Avengers 298, 299, 300. They're fighting to get. Of course, the Goblin Queen wasn't trying to kidnap just her baby. It was all the babies, all the powerful babies. So, of course, there was like baby Franklin, and some demons kidnapped baby Franklin. So, you know, Cap and Thor and Gilgamesh and them are helping Sue and Reed get Franklin back. And I love it at the end of it. They're all sitting there at Franklin's cradle, his little bed. He's asleep. And they're all talking about the need for an Avengers team. They all agree to turn to form a new Avengers team. And then, the Invisible Woman just politely says, if anybody yells Avengers Assembles and wakes up my baby, they're in for it.
Yeah, that's a great line. Yeah, I love it.
I remember Power Pack. I don't know if Power Pack turned into they had Inferno or not. Oh, Excalibur had a couple of Inferno books as well. They were just a mini crossover. They didn't really. For some reason, Phoenix, Rachel Summers turned into a mannequin, and this goblin was trying to marry the mannequin. It's a long story.
Well, you're not selling me there.
I've got the books. You can find them in the dollar bin all day long. I actually love the covers. They're pretty cool.
I mean, that is the upside to the app, is like they have literally everything in the story arcs ready to go.
They actually have a omnibus for the main story and an omnibus with all the crossovers. So I mean,
oh right, wow. So
they're not cheap. They're not cheap.
There's enough of a story in the omnibus to separate it into two omnibuses. That's a pretty that's a healthy undertaking.
Scotty says, I wasn't reading comics at that time. Do you only do Marvel? Now, Scotty, when I first started in the 80s, I mostly read Marvel. I read anything with an X, any Spider-Man, Cap, Avengers. Comics were a lot cheaper back then. Mostly Transformers, G.I. Joe. Now the DC, my DC was, I didn't really start reading Superman till the death of Superman. I know that's bad. I picked up Batman right around Death in the Family, and for Detective Comics, it was like the Mud Pack. And then I was constantly reading Firestorm. I love Firestorm. And I want to say hi to DJ Wise Ass. But guys, honestly, that's all I've got. Let me ask one question before we do our rounds. And I'll just ask a question. And I'll ask this of the panel as well. They can sound off in the chats. What does the character of Batman particularly mean to you? I mean, or a better way to say it, what if you have a fascination for Batman? What is it that fascinates you about that character?
Well, I have an interesting relationship to Batman because at the point I read Batman and became sort of obsessed, I was in a particularly low point in my life. So it's connected to that. To me, it's someone that I admire the determination, and also the fact that he always is if you look at Batman wrong, he could be like an anti-hero, but in my opinion, he is a pure hero. He wants to make the world as good as he can, and specifically Gotham. But you couldn't ask for a better hero, in so much as his determination is so driven that he will destroy his own life, really, as a real person. Because let's be honest, Bruce Wayne is a fictional character. Batman is the real person. And it's that determination which is it's admirable. I mean, it's crazy, Don't get me wrong. At the same time,
Yeah.
but also the fact that he has such a strict set of rules that he will never ever go over that line, which
Yeah, and
is
that video
right,
clip I played proves that.
yeah. And it's really important to the character, which is why I did have such an issue with the Snyderverse version of Batman, because his disregard for that. And I know they played into the fact that like maybe he was learning it at that point, but it's such an important point of the character that he won't go over that line, to me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like he is my favorite superhero, like, and he has been for years. And he also has a wonderful rogue gallery as well. Like if you think about it, like Spider-Man's the only one that rivals the rogues gallery. And
Agreed.
also, like most of DC feels like it would be really weaker without that rogues gallery because of Batman. Like it's, yeah.
Rich, what do you think?
My thing with Batman is if you look at all like the, you got to say Batman's probably DC's number one superhero, right? Maybe number two. You can make an argument. And even if you look at Marvel, you take the top 10 of either. How many of those top level heroes are just a regular guy?
Exactly.
Without any enhancements or, he's just a dude with a suit and a bunch of gadgets. You know what I mean? That's why I was always, in admiration of the character, because it's just a guy. Iron Man has his thing in his chest at first, and everybody else had some type of superpowers or something that made him special, and Batman was just a dude.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I was gonna agree with you on that. I believe. I mean, even that Batman versus Predator, he spent how long in a body cast after the Predator damn near killed him, but he proved it even in Batman versus Predator that he could beat anybody with the proper prep time.
Well, that's interesting because I've not read that book. But if you would, if someone was to wager money with me, who would win, Batman or a Predator? I'd pick Batman every day because I know that guy will think of a way out of that situation.
Their first meeting in the comics, spoilers, Predator damn near kills him. The Batmobile saves him. He gets away, and then for a month, nobody knows where he's at. And the Predator.
But that's the beauty of Batman. He is a human, and he's just a human. Like that's all he is, and he's just a really smart one that is incredibly driven. So he can be nearly killed all the time, but if you don't do the job, then that's on you.
Oh yeah, I was wondering if they had a nice picture, but they probably don't, because there's one part where he's like all in bandages and stuff, and then he just asked. Yeah, you can barely see it, but hold on. You can see he's all bandaged up, and then the last right here in the corner he says, "Where did you hide the remote, Alfred?" Because Alfred wasn't showing any news about what was going on the whole time he was recuperating. But yeah, Lego Batman is really cool.
Yeah, Lego Batman is a tremendous character. I wouldn't put it on the level of the greats, but it's a really well thought out execution of that character in the Lego.
He's making reference to the picture. Because I could have showed you what he made at the end of it, but that's spoilers, man. Let's just say he comes out on top. He's got to come out on top. But yeah, I always loved Batman. I watched him. Okay, I watched the Scooby-Doo Adventures when Batman showed up. I watched the Super Friends. I knew who Batman was, and then I watched the '89 Batman, like I said, with my buddy who's gone now. And I was like, this ain't the same Batman. I like this. And the whole thing where he wouldn't kill, I always thought that was cool because he beat the living hell out of you, but he won't kill you. And I always thought that was unique, that he, And it's like Bane says in Vengeance of Bane #1, a creature shrouded in darkness and mystery, yet you will not break the sixth commandment. I love that.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's telling that I can remember a really low point in my life where I put on Sin City, which is one of my favorite movies, and I turned it off and I put on a Batman movie, and I can remember turning to my wife. She was like, "I thought we were watching Sin City," and I was like, "Yeah, but sometimes you need a hero."
Yeah.
And at that point, I needed a hero, which means an awful lot to me because he was there for me. Like, he's a fictional character, obviously, but like to resonate that hard with someone.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, I always say for me personally, when I was growing up, I didn't have a lot of friends. That's why I read a lot of comics. The stories was great escapism, and that's what helped me deal with life. I mean, I can understand that completely. So let's take a minute and we'll start with Rich. What you got coming up, Rich?
Well, I actually have free time this week because I am on vacation. So I have a couple pressing videos I got to finish up some last minute editing for, and I'm actually going to do a ranking video of the Marvel movies. So that should all be coming out by week's end at the very least. So
that's cool. What about you, DVH?
I've got to the promised land, as it were. I'm on holiday for 2 weeks because it's Easter holidays, and because I work in a school, there's nothing to do, so I'm off for 2 weeks. So I hopefully will be around a little bit more in live streams because I can be. Like, generally speaking, the reason I do the Saturday night gigs is because that's the only time I can be there. So hopefully you'll see me popping up a little bit more. Monday, I will definitely have a new unboxing video. And otherwise, I'll see you around.
Cool. Well, the first thing I have to say is tomorrow I'll be enjoying Easter with the family. I'm hoping that I'll be able to pop on Durz's live show. I'm pretty sure he's still doing it. I know he went out of town to watch Godzilla Kong tonight. So that may or may not happen. Next week, I'm not on vacation. I have to work 12-hour shifts all 5 days.
Oh, no. Why? Why?
I volunteered. We got our second shift guy is on vacation, and I volunteered.
I mean, I reiterate the why question. Why the hell would you?
Because Tony's got to pay for a water bill.
Yes, I understand.
And so I've got some stuff already filmed. I just got to edit it Monday. Hopefully, Monday will be my second and final video at the moment of me opening up Marvel packs from Five Below. Tuesday will be the Comiverse Community Shoutouts in This Week in Comic History. I did not get the spotlight out last week like I was supposed to. It's done. I just got to finish editing. Hopefully, I can drop it Friday. That'll be on the Forever People #1 first full appearance of Darkseid, Forever People, and Infinity Man. And then there will not be a live show next week because I'm going to go see my brother in Greenbrier, and we're going to watch WrestleMania. So I'm going to be there Saturday and Sunday. So I'll be lurking in chat, but I will not be doing any shows. And we're going to come back home Monday because I'm calling it Looney Day because the lunar eclipse is coming right through Arkansas. And everybody's losing their freaking minds over it, renting hotels. They think it's going to be like utter madness. So work gave us that day off instead of Friday. So it works.
Okay.
And that's pretty much me in a nutshell. Then the week after that, I'll come back for Into the Comiverse, and we'll hang out and talk some stuff and hang out with these fine folks. So I want to take a minute, thank DVH, Rich, Izzy for hanging out in the chat, talking about Batman, celebrating 85 years of the Cape Crusader. I want to thank everybody for hanging out in the chat. If you're watching this on the replay, thank you for watching. And we're going to get out of here, and I'm going to leave it to the Joker to say goodnight. So everybody, have a great night. Have a blessed Easter, and we will see you in a couple weeks.
Well, Hayes, guess it's time to call it a night. What do you say, hon? Feeling the old electricity tonight? Ain't it always the way? You get in the mood and company shows